So Bernie Sanders' campaign team has been aggressively going after Joe Biden's record on Social Security, pointing out the many instances where Biden has called for the cutting of benefits for Social Security recipients. It's not exactly a popular position, especially among many people who would vote for Joe Biden. So now, Sanders' campaign manager, Faye Shakir, talked about how Biden has not only pushed to cut Social Security, but he's on tape proudly bragging about it on multiple occasions. I'm going to show you a little bit of that later on in older speech. However, the Biden team disagrees and recently took a shot at Bernie Sanders during a town hall meeting with Biden. Let's take a look.
Let's get the record straight. I'm not going to blame anybody, but, well, let me just say the facts. There's a little doctored video going around saying that, put out by, put out by one of Bernie's. No, I'm serious. And I don't know if my staff has that video here, but saying that I agreed with Paul Ryan, the former vice presidential candidate, about wanting to privatize Social Security. It is, and PolitiFact looked at it, and they doctored the photo, they doctored the piece, and it's acknowledged that it's a fake. And so what we're doing is we're putting out what the actual exchange between Paul Ryan and I were.
So this is an allegation of a doctored video. So that's really strange. Now, so who's right about this? Bernie Sanders' campaign says, no, we didn't doctor that video. He has been talking about cutting Social Security for quite some time. In fact, we have a lot of record about this. We have a lot of video and a lot of statements. And Joe Biden says, no, I didn't. I never talked about that. Now, journalists have looked at this case. The Intercept's Washington Bureau Chief Ryan Grim said, no, that video was not doctored. He actually did say that. And so that's really important. And in a piece, noted that Biden had advocated cutting Social Security for about 40 years. Now, let me give you some quotes from here, from that piece. Biden's fixation on cutting Social Security dates back to the Reagan era. One of Ronald Reagan's first major moves as president was to implement a mammoth tax cut tilted toward the wealthy and to increase defense spending. Biden, a Delaware senator at the time, supported both moves. The heightened spending and reduced revenue focused public attention on the debt and deficit, giving fuel to a push for a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. In the midst of that debate, Biden teamed up with Iowa Republican Senator Chuck Grassley to call for a freeze on federal spending and insisted on including Social Security in that freeze. The Reagan administration fought to protect the program from cuts, so Biden wanted to go to the right of the Reagan administration, which is a curious place to go. And so I want to show you Joe Biden arguing for a balanced budget amendment and what he had said about Social Security. Take a look.
I mean, whatever happened to that old conservative discipline about paying for what you spend? I'm up for re-election this year, and I'm going to remind everybody what I did at home, which is going to cost me politically. When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. I meant Medicare and Medicaid. I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government. And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a third time, and I tried it a fourth time. Somebody has to tell me in here how we're going to do this hard work without dealing with any of those sacred cows.
Those sacred cows, of course, being Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Now, let me add, Social Security doesn't add a penny to the deficit. It is completely self-funded through payroll taxes. Now, what Republicans have successfully been doing is cutting taxes, specifically cutting the payroll tax. Now, there is a short-term stimulus that can be added by cutting the payroll tax, but it ends up hurting those programs in the long run. And so what you do in order to shore up Social Security is not necessarily raise payroll tax, although that does help. But if you want to keep that payroll tax cut and still fund the program into perpetuity, well, then there's something simple that you need to do. you just lift the cap on taxable income. And so to say that he hasn't talked about cutting Social Security, well, it's a 100% lie.